Coming up next on 21 News, severe weather damage is affecting most of our viewing area. A barn in Lawrence County is ripped apart when a tornado touches down there. A tractor trailer smashes into D'Onofrio's Food Center in Hermitage, and a teenage boy is rescued after a fall at McConnell's Mill State Park.
Locally owned, locally connected. This is 21 News, 11 p.m.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. Storm damage is affecting most of our viewing area tonight.
In Lawrence County, a tornado touched down and tore through a family's barn. 21 News reporter Jennifer Balagish has the story.
This is what's left of a barn that has been in Brian Warner's family for 4 generations.
It was about 25 to 35 feet above those silos.
Brian and his neighbors are certain they saw a tornado come through the New Beaver area. Several of them took pictures and video on their phones.
It was a basic, V-shaped ground-touching tornado type deal. It was coming from the southeast, moving in a northeastern pattern.
Warner's 95-year-old grandmother still lives here. She and his aunt had been inside the home at the time. He is relieved that while the barn and surrounding buildings were badly damaged, the home and the people inside were okay.
It was a snap of a finger. There was really no noise, no sound. It just come blowing through like nothing.
However, Ryan's sister says not everyone in the family had been accounted for.
I said, I hate to ask, but where's the dog?
Winnie McCandless was relieved when her husband pulled Jasper, who is old and blind, from the wreckage.
I was worried because he's tied. He's a farm dog that's tied.
Warner's farm used to be a dairy farm. Now it's more for crops. The barn housed hay and equipment. Ryan says it will take some time, but he plans to clean up the damage and rebuild.
You can rebuild anything else. I mean, it's just everybody's alive. There was no lives taken. Nobody died.
With more local news, I'm Jennifer Balagish.
Well, flooding in Newcastle forced residents of a trailer park along Route 422 to evacuate. What's normally the Big Run Creek looks more like a lake tonight. It started to flood its banks around 3 this afternoon. By 6:30, river rescue crews came to remove residents from the 20 mobile homes here. However, residents in 3 trailers chose to stay.
There's several people staying in their trailers with the electricity off. They refuse to leave. And they can't grab you and take you out.
I told them that
A Red Cross representative was on the scene, found the residents a place to stay until the water recedes.
A tree fell onto a Jeep and part of a home on the corner of Rosemont Avenue in Austintown this evening. Everyone who was in the home at the time is safe. Jenny Gates had parked her Jeep in the driveway shortly before the tree hit.
All of a sudden we heard a bang and nobody knew what it was. We thought a tornado was coming through, so we all ran down to the basement. That's when I hurried up and called the fire department, and then we slowly came back up when they came and they saw that the tree had demolished my vehicle, my porch, and hit the house.
What makes matters worse is that Gates is 7 months pregnant. She says cleanup will be difficult, but neighbors have offered to help. A family in Liberty is counting its blessings tonight after a fallen tree causes minimal damage to their home. Apparently, high winds uprooted the tree. Members of the Baumeier family tell 21 News the tree was at least 80 feet tall and over 100 years old. The way it fell in front of their home, only one of the branches punctured through a bathroom.
Had hit even a few feet to the right, we would have had the whole roof collapse. We would have had major structural damage.
The family says the only other damage was to a sewer line in their basement.
Well, parts of Mahoning Avenue and Niles flooded during the severe weather this evening. Homeowners there say this has happened more than once. Neighbors say most of the water comes from the nearby ravine.
Our basement's completely full, so we're not going to be able to stay in the house. Our electric had to be shut off. My equipment in my garage is underwater. My cars were underwater. There was cars stuck out here in the lake. It's down now from what it was.
Shanna Barger says the residents are unhappy with the way city departments are handling the constantly flooding roads. A bridge in Trumbull County is under at least 10 to 12 feet of water tonight and has been temporarily closed to traffic by the county engineer's office. It looks like a river is running through Cadwallader-Sauk Road in Fowler. The Trumbull County engineer's office says the road and the bridge sit at the lowest point in the county, and with the heavy rains that saturated the ground, there's nowhere for all the water to go.
We'll inspect it in the morning after the water recedes and take a look at it. My supervisor was on the surface of the bridge already. Seems to be okay. Of course, we'll wait till the water recedes to assess it.
Neighbors say the rush of water has washed out the bridge in the past.
As if the storms didn't cause enough chaos, a tractor trailer parked on a hill crashed into D'Onofrio's Food Center in Hermitage, damaging an entrance to the store. Police say the semi that was parked somehow slipped out of gear. A door and glass window were destroyed and several cars were damaged. One woman who was outside was shaken up but refused medical help. The truck driver was actually in the store shopping when his vehicle made its grand entrance.
I thought it was electricity hitting something, and I jumped out of my seat. I come running down and I see the nose of the truck in the front of the store, and I'm thinking, oh my God.
The store's owner and manager tell 21 News they are thankful the rain was so intense when the truck crashed because the store wasn't as crowded as usual, and that likely prevented someone from getting hurt.
A teenage boy from Beaver County suffered a fall at McConnell's Mill State Park this afternoon. The 19-year-old was in and out of consciousness when his friends reached him. He fell about 15 feet near the Kildew Bridge. He was taken to Butler Memorial Hospital for a head injury, but he was able to speak to paramedics.
One part of the Trumbull County Fair was rescheduled tonight due to the bad weather. The auto races will now take place on Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The hot laps for the racing start at 1:30. The rain is behind us now, but the flood threat continues.
Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm is in the Storm Tracker 21 Forecast Center. Eric?
Well, and Bob and Leslie, that flood threat will continue overnight into tomorrow morning. Many of our local rivers, such as the Mahoning, will not actually reach their flood stage until tomorrow morning, going maybe a half a foot to a foot above that flood stage. So we'll still be concerned about that through tomorrow morning. But as we take a look at the radar, as you can see, not much going on at all. All of the rain is now well off to our east. Look at the wall of water that's kind of fallen apart a little bit in Pennsylvania, but certainly this is the same system that brought the damage to a lot of our neck of the woods as we went through the afternoon and evening. Rainfall totals very impressive, and I'll show you those coming up very shortly, as well as a look at the extended forecast.
Thanks, Eric. Next on 21 News, the largest employer in the state of Pennsylvania is going smoke-free. We'll tell you who it is.
And what people in the valley are doing to help keep the polka alive and well.
A Mahoning County Sheriff's deputy is charged with OVI. Sheriff Jerry Green tells 21 News Amos Case was cited in a two-car crash in Niles early Tuesday. Case is charged with drunk driving and failing to leave an assured clear distance between vehicles. Police say Case's blood alcohol level was under the legal limit. However, the 31-year-old deputy failed a field sobriety test. The crash victim, 44-year-old Tracy Finney, remains in the intensive care unit tonight. A Warren police officer remains on paid leave at the same time the department's conducting an internal investigation into the actions of other officers on the job. Warren Police Chief Eric Merkel has asked the Bureau of Criminal Identification and Investigation to investigate Officer Reuben Shaw. Shaw is accused of towing another person's vehicle to his property without the owner knowing it. 3 other officers are now under internal department review for their handling of an aggravated burglary arrest Sunday.
After he was transferred to the second car, the prisoner had dropped a weapon inside the patrol car, and the chief wanted me to look into that and see if there was any violation of policies.
Merkel says the officers under internal investigation face possible reprimand or could be asked to go through retraining.
The number of reported sexual assaults in the Ohio National Guard in the last 10 months has tripled compared to all of 2012. The Guard has recorded 13 sexual assault cases. The commander of the Springfield Air National Guard Base's 178th Fighter Wing says addressing this problem is a priority for the base. About 1,000 airmen and guardsmen will undergo sexual assault prevention training this month. The largest employer in the state of Pennsylvania is going smoke-free. The University of Pittsburgh Medical Center is banning smoking and smokeless tobacco use by its staff during the workday starting next year. Currently, workers can leave the grounds and buildings to smoke. Starting July of 2014, that will not be allowed, and smoke breaks will be banned. The hospital network will offer a free smoking cessation program to its employees. UPMC will still hire smokers. They will just have to quit or refrain from tobacco use during their shifts.
The Valley is a melting pot of many different cultures, but Northeast Ohio is known for the dance that is popular at just about any wedding reception. The polka got its start in 19th century Bohemia, but fewer people are enjoying the dance.
21 News reporter Matt Stone tells us people are worried the polka could become extinct.
The sound is unmistakably recognizable and fun.
Polka music's happy music. It's easy music. Most of your polkas is basically, it's a country two-step. So I mean, it's something that most people can do quite easily and have fun while they're doing it.
Hey, Stash, jak się masz?
At this year's Simply Slavic Fest in downtown Youngstown, people were dancing up a storm. Years ago, this couple first met dancing a polka. They've been together ever since.
It's a beautiful dance, and it's easy to do. It's just a simple step.
There are actually many different styles of polka. Polkas from Germany, Italy, Slovenia, Poland, and the Czech Republic all have their own different beats and use different instruments. Many cultures want to keep their own polka traditions going by passing them down to their children. But these days, that's not so easy. Polka legend and two-time Grammy nominee Del Sinchak says he's noticed the crowds are getting smaller and older every year.
Maybe not in my lifetime, but I think down the road sometime our type of music will be a lot scarcer than it is now. We used to have 26 polka bands in our general area, maybe 20, 25 years ago, and now we have about 4.
3, 4! Every Saturday night at Kuzman's in Girard, it's polka party night. It has been for about 60 years.
Back in the 1970s, it would have been standing room only in Kuzman's on a Saturday night, but now these days, it's not so much. They still have their loyal customers.
Ashley Mackle was one of them. Her 3-year-old son seems to love it.
My grandfather used to come here before he passed away. We brought Caleb when he was just 2 months old, and ever since then he's loved polkas.
Del Sinchak says the Slovenian style of polka is in most danger of extinction right now. But he and many other polka fans are trying to save the dance. The Penn Ohio Polka Pals visit local elementary schools and teach kids about polkas. They get interested and excited, but something always happens.
Then I think after they get to the 6th grade or something, it's like peer pressure, you know, polkas, you know. That's weird, you know, accordion, you have to be a nerd to play an accordion,
So while our local polka fans get older, all may not be lost.
But when polkas are dying here, they're also getting popular in other areas that they weren't popular in before, like Texas. They're really booming down there. And in the old country, where it died out for years, it's more popular than ever now.
It makes my life worthwhile.
So the tradition will continue as long as people have a spring in their step and a love of their heritage. With more local news, I'm Matt Stone.
Well, the worst weather is behind us, but how long will we stay dry?
Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm's up next with a forecast.
This Storm Tracker Storm Cam is brought to you by Refresh Dental. Healthier teeth, happier you.
Great day to end the week, and notice those overnight lows back in the 50s. The weekend looks sunny, and notice temperatures are going to warm up, but it's not going to be accompanied by a ton of humidity just yet. So a steamy Sunday with a high of 88, but it'll feel different than it did today. We'll match that 88 early next week, and the humidity will start to creep up again Monday through Wednesday.
Okay, much more pleasant conditions.
Yes.
Absolutely. Boy, do we deserve it.
We
yes,
certainly
a
do.
much needed break.
Yep.
Yeah, you take a break too.
Thank you.
You had a busy night. All right, thank you. Next on 21 News, will George Zimmerman take a stand in his second-degree murder trial? His decision when we come back.
And a driver hits a mother and the baby stroller she's pushing and doesn't even bother to stop. More on that when we return. The surviving Boston Marathon bombing suspect pleads not guilty. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev appeared in a Boston courtroom today and pleaded not guilty as 30 survivors and victims' family members watched. The 19-year-old was arraigned on a 30-count indictment, including charges of using weapons of mass destruction for the April 15th attack that killed 3 people and wounded more than 260. George Zimmerman will not testify in his second-degree murder trial. Before the defense rested its case, Seminole County Judge Deborah Nelson asked Zimmerman if he'd made a decision about testifying. Zimmerman said he would not. Zimmerman has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder, saying he shot Trayvon Martin in self-defense.
Lawmakers are back to negotiations after a student loan bill failed in the Senate today. The proposal would have restored 3.4% interest rates on subsidized Stafford loans for 1 more year, but it was blocked. This failed bill means students could be borrowing money for fall courses at a, quote, unacceptably high rate. Because Congress failed to reach an agreement, interest rates on student loans doubled to 6.8% July 1st. Michigan police are looking for the driver of a van who backed into a woman pushing a stroller and then drove off. As you can see in the video, the woman was pushing her 1-year-old son in the stroller. They were in the parking lot of a store when a van backed into her. The driver dragged the stroller a short distance before stopping briefly to allow the mother to get the child out of the stroller before driving off. The child was not hurt.
2 in a row.
Dana tells us that the Indians make it 2 straight over the Jays.
Well, as people clean up from the storms, there's still that potential for flooding out there.
Absolutely. Some of our major rivers, such as the Mahoning, will not actually reach their flood stage until tomorrow morning. That's why flood warnings remain throughout the day tomorrow in some of our counties. So that's something to keep in mind. We're not out of the woods for flooding. We are out of the woods in terms of rain, though, aside from a stray shower tonight. Let's take a look at that 7-day. Lots of improvements starting tomorrow. Less humid in the afternoon. What a change it's going to be tomorrow afternoon. That change will be with us through the weekend. Sure, it's going to warm up, but it is going to be with low humidity and lots of sunshine. Looks like a nice summer weekend.
Okay, we can dry out for a change.
Yeah, it'll
be
feel
nice.
better.
Yeah.
Thank you. For more local news, weather and sports, and any breaking news, log on to WFMJ.com.
The Tonight Show is next. Have a great night.